Coach, how would you best summarize that game?
A lot of ups and downs, a lot of runs, a lot of adversity that we fought through, which I like for what our guys did in that situation, regardless of the circumstances, they continue to fight through. That's the resiliency of this group, the toughness of this group. Did not come out on the other end of it, but our ability to continue to fight regardless of what was happening. And again, give Boston credit. They did what they were supposed to do, take care of home court.
Well, what challenges did your team face defending without fouling tonight?
I'm not the one to answer that question. I promise you I can't answer that one right now. I think there were some things that you'd like to look at and say differently. I'm not one to complain about any of it. But there's a reality that, all of our starters had 2 fouls at one point quickly. And there was a time it was 16-2 in the free throw count. That's part of how the game goes. And that's what we got to learn to push through and fight through, and that's what these guys did. Now, when we get to the free throw line, we got to knock them down too. Can't miss 9 in a 9-point game.
Looking at Boston with Tatum out, they went big with Horford. What effect did the size that Horford and Porzingis provide, especially with the kind of switching that you guys are trying to do to limit three-point shooting?
Well, I think it was Jaylen Brown that got going more than anything. I think it was him covering some of the switches. He got downhill quickly, made some tough pull-up threes, but that's what he's capable of doing. And so in those situations, being able to adjust to what he's doing, going after him a little bit. We got a couple turnovers on him when we went after him. But again, I don't know if it was that much of them going big, other than, we knew that somebody was going to step up, and it happened to be Jaylen in this situation.
What was challenging tonight for KCP? He shot 0 for 6 from 3. I'm just curious how you get more shooting from him in Game 3.
I think, he's defending his tail off, running around, flying around. I mean, they're running him off the line. They're flying at him, highly contested shots. And I think, his ability just can keep finding it, keep stepping into it the same way that we know he can.
Coach, what stood out to you about Anthony Black's performance and 11 points? And how do you want to see more production from your bench as you get back to Orlando?
Just aggression. When they step into that game, you gotta walk in there fearless. You got to walk in there understanding exactly the moment that you step in the game, it's about attack mode. Defensively, you got to be ready to pick up full court, make them turn, make them have to make adjustments. And then offensively, when you get that ball off the glass or the rebound or a stop, we got to look to push that out and get on the break and play a lot faster with a lot more pace.
What did you think of the team's pace in this game? It felt like you guys were trying, kind of forcing pace into the game early on, but you obviously score a few more points, get maybe some of the shots you wanted. What did you think of the way that the team attacked on offense?
I loved our aggression. I really do. You look to get to the paint 36 times, 46 points in the paint. The ability to get downhill. Could we play faster? Absolutely. I think we can definitely get downhill more, and I think that's what we're going to have to continue to look at doing, because they do a great job of loading up. But if we can play before their defense is set, before they get to the switching, the matchups, the zone, all those things that they're doing to keep you off balance, you do that before the defense is set is very important for us.
Jamal, is there anything you can pinpoint as to why you guys have struggled in the third quarter in these first 2 games?
I think we come out and we got some great looks early. They didn't drop, and a lot of those allowed them to get early, easy transition baskets. And I think that's something that we got to continue to look at. When those shots don't fall early, we got to make sure that we're still digging in on the defensive end. Long shots were long rebounds, and they were able to get out. But again, we'll dissect it, look at it again on film, and be ready to go.
It seemed like Bitadze gave your team a boost there. Why not continue to go with him there, even though he had played almost 8 straight minutes?
I mean, he played 8 straight minutes. There was a Cornet matchup that we went to, and then, Wendell came back in the game when Horford came back in the game, and looking at those 2 minutes matched up against each other. But again, he gave us a great spark off the bench. I thought his energy was great. His defense was great. Again, we got to do a better job as a whole group of defending without fouling.
As strong as your team typically is as a defensive rebounding team, what are you seeing on your defensive board here?
Offensive rebounds, for long shots equal long rebounds. Again, they got up 37 threes, and I think 4 or 5 of those were coming off of the offensive rebound. So our ability to finish out possessions, knowing those shots are coming off long, we've got to do a better job there.
Your team fell down 0-2 last year against Cleveland, 0-2 tonight. Just why do you feel like your team can
tie it again in the first round?
You just said it, because we've done it before, and we could take it one game at a time. Boston, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They took care of home, and it doesn't become a series until the home team loses.
What do you think hasn't clicked for Franz from three the first 2 games?
I think he's getting good looks. I really do think he's getting good looks. And again, you got to give Boston credit for how they're defending. They're flying at guys, flying you off the line, running the bodies, speeding you up. You give credit to their defense. Again, we're getting the looks that we need, but we just have to continue to trust.
Paolo has another big scoring game, kind of filling up the box score. How important is his presence and the gravity that he creates with his scoring, and what does it say about him that in his second playoffs he's continuing to kind of be comfortable in these kind of scenarios and settings?
It's who he is. He's a winner. He's trying to find ways. He's trying to find ways to do whatever he can, not coming out of the game in that fourth quarter, just because of how bad he wants to go take this game, and understood exactly what we were capable of doing. A lot of things have to fall in place in those situations, but this young man is doing whatever he can for this team in order to put us in the position to be successful and to win games.
How encouraged are you going forward by the fact that you guys only committed 7 turnovers tonight?
Very, very, very encouraged. Our ability to take care of the basketball is what we talked about last game. 15 turnovers for 24 points. Again, our ability to do all of these things now is going to be very important, to do it all without fouling. Putting them on the line 33 times. We've got to be better there. Regardless of how that whistle's being blown, we've got to do a better job of showing our hands and being protective. Now, do we love the way it goes? No, but you got to find a way to adjust to exactly how that game's being called.
Coach, you talk about defending without fouling, but that's 2 games in a row that you hold the Celtics below, their scoring average. Does that give you some confidence going on?
It does. I think that it's the small margin within this game. They go on the quick run that puts us behind it a little bit. We get into the bonus early. You've got to change the way you're bumping guys in and out. So we've got to be a lot more diligent in how we're trying to defend and show our hands early, whatever it is, whether we like the way the whistle's going or not. We've got to make sure that we adjust to how it's going.
And last year, when you guys went home, offensively, you exploded. Mm-hmm. Can atmosphere impact offense?
I think for this group, absolutely. I think our crowd is one of the best in the league, and they're going to be behind us, supporting us, and that energy at the Kia Center is going to be something that we're going to need as we move back home, to be able to take care of home.
Jamal back here. You kind of talked about with Jason, but it's now 2 straight years you guys haven't won a road playoff game. The obvious answer is it's frustrating, but how do you go about trying to change that narrative and getting a road win when you want it, but it's just not that easy?
It's in the margins, the minor details of the game, and you look at right now, the small things would be, can we make our free throws? Can we do a better job of defending without fouling? Because we know how it's going to be on the road. And so it's those little things that we have to clean up and understand exactly what we need to do. But having had this experience last year and now walking into it this year, knowing what we do, and you come back here and know exactly what you have to do.
Franz, how would you best summarize that game, and what do you feel Boston did that made it so tough there in the second half?
A little bit similar to the last game, I thought, in terms of us struggling in the third a little bit. I think the biggest thing was, 13 offensive rebounds for them. A team that's good, you can't get them, second chance opportunities.
Kind of on that point, this is the second game where either you or Jamal or somebody has kind of pointed out the offensive rebounds as being a struggle. What's preventing you guys from being able to close out defensive possessions right now?
We're not getting the ball. They shoot it and they're getting the rebound.
Did you sense sort of sense of desperation from them? Obviously, down a star, guys have to kind of fill in. Was there just a want to that they had that maybe you guys were missing or just couldn't match?
No, I thought we played with a lot of heart, a lot of character. They made a bunch of runs throughout the game. We never gave up. We played real physical. Thought we were a great effort all game.
What do you think isn't clicking for you from 3 for these first 2 games?
I don't really know what to say. They're not going in.
Do you like the looks you're getting, or?
Yeah, felt really good. Honestly, kind of surprised that a couple of them didn't fall.
We talked a lot over the last 2 days about increasing the team's pace and tempo. You obviously scored more points. The team scored more points today, but did you like the way that the team was kind of getting after it offensively or getting up the court quicker today?
Yeah, I thought you can tell that we looked at the film from the first game and made that an effort today. Getting the ball a little quicker and just getting into our stuff a little faster. And I think you could see the results too. No, it's not going to be perfect all game, but didn't shoot it great from three. I think if a couple more of those fall, I think it's going to be a different game.
What do you see on the team's difficulty defending without fouling?
Yeah, I think that was another thing today. Offensive rebounds and fouling, especially in the first half. They put so much pressure on you from the three-point line that sometimes we were spread out a little bit too much, and then no one got on the ball, isn't trusting his help anymore. So, for the most part, I thought we did a good job guarding the three, and sometimes you just got to trust that, the man's going to be behind you.
On the topic of fouling, what's the balance between trying to be very physical and aggressive without setting them to the free throw line?
Yeah, I think it depends. Just where on the court it is. Usually they let you play pretty physical on the perimeter. Once guys get into the paint and kind of pick up the ball, that's when you got to show your hands.
We know how good this Boston team is. They're gonna go on runs on occasion. How difficult is it, or what needs to happen when they kind of land those punches and hit maybe 2 or 3 threes in a row and kind of extend that lead? What needs to happen in response to those?
Yeah, I think we just got to keep playing our game. Obviously those possessions offensively after those runs are really important. Not extend the lead even more. And then I think also when they struggle to score, I think we'd capitalize a little bit more. And, obviously sometimes you're going to have bad shooting nights, but we're going to shoot better at home.
On that point, how helpful will it be to return home?
Yeah, it'll be good. Last year was really fun playing at home, so hopefully we can get game 3 at home and make it a series.
As well as KCP is playing on defense, how does the team get him more involved in the offense, given his ability to shoot?
Yeah. Run some plays for him. Obviously look for him on the kickouts. Obviously they're making an effort to not let him get any easy looks from there. And, sometimes you're going to have nights like this, and, we're going to be better in game 3.
Piggybacking off that, Franz, how much can the atmosphere at home, make a difference to your offense?
Yeah, we're all human, you know what I mean? It's always easier when people are cheering you on, so hopefully we see that next game.
And what did you think of Jaylen Brown's performance tonight?
Yeah, he played a hell of a game. Obviously real efficient. Hit a couple of tough shots from 3, and he's a great player. We just got to make sure that we keep making it tough on him and not send him to the line as much. Thank you.